Hello everybody. I've had some questions about how to take the dash apart carefully on my 87 International school bus, and this video will apply to anybody with an 80s model International truck or bus. So first thing to get to do before we do anything is, if you look right now, we have air pressure in the gauges, and those are going to have to become disconnected. So this doesn't apply to hydraulic brake vehicles, but we're going to bleed the brakes down just by pushing the parking brake knob about halfway until it's all bled out. So here we go. Alright, the brakes are completely drained now. As you can see, I can push the brake and there's no air, nothing. Now, the reason I didn't pump the brake pedal down is because with the parking brake applied, it's not good for the slack adjusters, whether they be manual or automatic. Alright, the next thing we're going to do, if you notice, I've pulled the screw out right there, right here. There's 5 screws. Actually, there's 7 screws, my apologies. There's one here, one here, one here. There's one right here that a lot of people don't put back in, so it may be missing, it may not be. There's one here, one there, and one down there. Now the 2 screws closest to the steering column, this one and this one, are shorter. You got to remember to, and the one between the above the steering column is also shorter. They just use a little Phillips-Head screwdriver, standard Phillips-Head screw, nothing fancy. But if you notice this screw compared to, we're going to take the other one out now. It's a little difficult holding the camera, the steering wheel in the way, but we'll manage. Hopefully this doesn't take too long to do this video. Alright, so this screw is just about all the way out. Now if you notice, when it comes out, this screw, there it is very long. And this screw, this smaller one, is much shorter. So you don't want to get the two mixed up. So in my Thomas, I have holes up here on my door handle, so I put all my long screws up here, and I usually put them in the orientation. That's upper left corner, lower left corner, and so on, so that the exact same screws go back in the same holes. And then the other 2 I just set over here. Alright, now, that said, this just comes right off. There's a lens, there's a base plate here. It comes off right here. And there's a lens. And the lens also has the all your little idiot light indicators in it. So make sure that stays together. Sometimes they come apart, but usually they're pretty good about staying together. Now, the air brake gauges, if you have air brakes, they're not held in by screws. They're actually just held in by the air brake hoses, I believe. Now if you notice, on every gauge, the fuel gauge, the volt gauge, the oil gauge, and the temperature gauge are all electronic. Find the right screw size for them. I think it's 5/16 inch screw. Let me see here. No, it's smaller. It must be a 1/4 inch. Alright, so for all the gauges in here, you want a 1/4 inch screw. So we're going to take out the temperature gauge, because that gauge has been in and out the most on this vehicle, because I've had problems with it, and luckily they've all been fixed. But it's very simple. You just take both the screws out and bang the screwdriver on the panel. Don't do that. Alright. So both the screws are out. Drop that one on the floor. There we go. And then you just grab the gauge from the corners, or a corner. You may need 2 hands for this. Nope. And it just comes right out. And then those little clips down there associate with the left, bottom, and right prong of the gauge. So that's all that does. And if you see there's a light bulb back there, that's one of the backlights for the instrument panel. Now, to remove the tack, it's the same exact thing. Just take out 3 screws. There's 1 in the top, or 2 in the top, excuse me, 1 in the left corner, 1 in the right corner. Alright, I've taken the screws out, and if you notice there's a locator pin right here. That's very important that you make sure that gets lined up when you put your tack in. There's also one down here. So it just comes right out. And if you look right there, there's 2 prongs there. There's actually a plug back there. The 2 little prongs down here don't correspond to anything with the tack. I'm not sure what they're for, but I've run it without them. So the tack is out right here in my hand. I'll set it right here. And there's a plug back here. It has 2 prongs, and it corresponds with the back of this tachometer. And I know you can't, let's see, I know you can't really, oh yeah, I guess you can read them. No, you can't. Oh, there they are right there. I'm looking at the wrong thing. I guess you can't really read them, but the upper right, the topmost pin, which is this one right here, can't even hold it over here. Topmost pin, which is this one. Why are we walking? Is for positive electricity. So 12 volts positive. This one is 12 volts ground, and this one right here is the sensor positive coming in from the engine. I don't think I can get it out. Oh yeah, there we go. So that is, I guess you can't really see it, that's the plug right there. So Matt, if your bus doesn't have that plug, then you're going to have to run new wiring, but it just goes right back there. Now for those of you that are wishing to install a tachometer in your vehicle, your best bet is going to be to drill a hole here, and a hole right here, and you need to make them big enough to slide spade connectors through, because you're going to have to run wiring through. Now to get the rest of the assembly out, you just grab it. It's stuck. It's in there tight. Here we go. So you're just going to kind of work it free, like I just did here. Hang on a second. Alright, let's try this again. I had to put my screws in my temperature gauge. So it's going to come out easy on the left side because there's nothing holding it back, but on the right side the speedometer is in there. Now on the bottom of the speedometer, the cable, I can't get video of it, but the cable has a little button on the bottom of it where it plugs in. You just push the button and pull the cable, and the cable will unplug itself. You kind of have to work at it. It will unplug itself completely. Alright, I just got the cable unplugged from the back of the speedometer. And I don't know if you can see this right here. It's very... damn camera. It's right here. The button is on the bottom of the speedometer. Alright, I've just unscrewed the speedometer, so it should just come right out. Yep, because it doesn't have any holes. So if you look, right here on my knee here, here's the button you push. You're just going to push that down. And when you push it down, you'll have to kind of finagle the cable out, but it'll just come right out. Now, so the speedometer's out. Now, I lied. There's a screw right here that holds this air gauge assembly in. So now this is going to come out, this whole assembly. And if you look up here, this cable is what gives the whole thing power. So you're going to squeeze the sides of it, and it will unplug. I'm not going to unplug it today. Now, if you look right here, these are the 2 air lines going to your air gauges. And I'm not sure, let me see. Alright, I just got a wrench. I'm going to pull this back. Sorry, my video quality is going to be kind of bad here because I'm trying to hold a wrench and the camera. So, okay, there's one of the fittings there. So you're just going to take that wrench, and you're going to put it on this fitting, and you're going to turn it loose. And it's from the back, it would be clockwise to tighten it, so it's going to be counterclockwise to tighten. So you're going to want to turn it clockwise, like so, and it'll just unplug. And be sure you get them on back tight, or back on tight. Now, if you need to change bulbs, there's a bulb right here. There's one right here for backlighting. There's one down here. There's one right here. There's one there. And there's one there. So those are all the bulbs that would need changing. Now, I'm going to grab one of the top ones out. This one should be for left turn signal here. And they just twist out. There's nothing fancy. And they are a 194 bulb. And this one doesn't want to come out, but it just, you twist it. You're going to twist it to the right. But like I said, this one's not wanting to come out because I don't have the cluster all the way out. But that would be exactly how you take it out. And then putting it in is just reverse. Now, if you do have a tachometer, when you put your tack back in, you want to make sure that your tack cable is back here held tight. Otherwise, the tack's not going to plug in. Alright, I got the tack back in and it's working. One thing you might want to note though is with the speedometer you have the odometer on here and it's very fragile, so you want to be very careful getting it back in. The best thing that I usually do when I put it back in is I'm going to slide the speedometer in with one hand and then I'm going to reach back with the other and grab the cable and plug it right back into the back of the speedometer. Right, the speedometer's plugged back in. Be sure you, when you slide it in, that you locate these. There's one pin here. It's the opposite of the tack. One here and one here. And you want to locate those and make sure it slides in those before you plug the cable in. Otherwise you will break it. As for lights, the important lights, right turn signal, glow plugs. Right turn signal, brake pressure, glow plugs. Not used. High beam indicator. Not used. Not used. Oil and water light. And left turn signal. Those are the bulbs that are important. And that's about it. Also, you might want to note when you pull the cluster out, there's a membrane on the back. It's a circuit board, but it's to the consistency of paper. So you want to be very careful with it, especially this one. I've put a new one on since, but the old ones, if they have not been changed, they're very fragile, so you want to be careful. And then all you have to do after that is just put the lens covers back on. It's very easy. Just slide this piece on first so it lines up just like so, very easily. It goes into the gauges here. Then after that, you put your faceplate back on. Also, one note: if you don't put the screw right here, the mounting screw over the that's underneath the high beam indicator in, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But I would put a piece of electrical tape over the hole. Otherwise, when you're driving at night, you will see light out of this hole right here. So, if all your bulbs are good. But anyway, that's it. And then you just put your screws back in and you're done. Anyway, good luck with everything. And good luck.